they didn't have anybody else. So I made the right decision to put them in a facility rather than take care of them full time because I have to take care of
And
myself.
I'm not critical.
Children don't know the rules. When she asked to be placed in the front seat, if that's what she did, you should have told her no.
Sorry. This is a number of cases in the matter of Marissa Nicole Marie Byers. That's you?
Yes, Your Honor.
There are a number of these, and this isn't a convenient time to do this, but this is what we ended up with. Ms. Byers was supposed to be here yesterday morning and slept through the hearing. So we called her on the phone. Mr. Knopfinger was scheduled to be here this morning. Aaron Geschwait for the Village of White Pigeon also had some pretrials this morning, so we set the matter for this morning. And I told Ms. Geschwait she didn't have to drive back down here. She was actually here live yesterday. So I was here, Luke was here, the city attorney was here, and you weren't. There are multiple tickets of dog at large. File 2320050M, 2321910M. The first one is October 16th. The next one is November 13th, dog at large. Then there is 2192, which is another unlicensed dog charge from November 13th. Stray dog, November 10th, 232193. Stray dog, November 18th, 2023. And we were doing pretty good. There were also a bunch of state statute cases, which Mr. Marvin dismissed, leaving only the ordinance cases. The matter was deferred out for a while to see how she would do, except there was another ticket for dog at large on February 28th. So there's a brand new charge that she is yet to be arraigned on. She had pled guilty to these charges, and this is the day for sentencing. She asked me yesterday, am I going to get arrested? Which means, am I going to go to jail? I said, well, I don't know. It remains to be seen. Several things are not. A, you didn't show up when you're supposed to. B, you show up late. And C, we got another ticket for the same thing we've been chasing our tails around for some time. And unfortunately, these didn't end up in my queue. Can somebody put all the Marissa Byers cases in my queue so I don't have to hunt them down one by one? Mr. Knopfinger, what's the status here today?
Yeah, a couple things, Judge. Aaron and myself had a chance yesterday to talk about the cases, also the new case, the 24420.OM. Ms. Byers intends to enter a plea in that case. Prosecutors represented. She's not looking for jail time on that case. I will note that the dog is properly vaccinated and licensed. And one thing I'll note too is the 24420 was a dog at large. There wasn't the accompanying unlicensed dog. So I don't have verification that it's vaccinated, but Ms. Byers tells me she went to TSC and went to the county to get it properly licensed and vaccinated. So
when did you do that?
Before our last court date here, and that's documented at the St. Joe County Animal Control.
What's the dog's name?
Brody. They had him down as Buddy at the animal control, but his name is Brody.
And what kind of dog is it?
He was classified as a Dogo Argentina.
What is that?
Well, it's like a pit bull, but same class, kind of, but I'm not sure how to.
And of course, it's a pit bull. I get criticized for criticizing pit bulls, but
he's such a good dog.
they all say that. He's such a good dog. He got out 12 times. And if I give you 1 day of jail for each time he gets out, then you can do 12 days in jail up to and including this most recent case of February 28th. So I don't know what to do with this. We set this out. So let's these aren't in my queue, which is your fault because they were all here yesterday and you didn't show up yesterday. So let me see if I left them there.
Please don't put me in jail, Your Honor.
Well, you also got some traffic tickets that you didn't pay and they went defaulted. January 27th, no proof of insurance and no proof of registration.
I have that now too, Your Honor.
Well, you got these tickets which are unpaid. You also got another proof of insurance from 2002,
Oh my God.
2022, excuse me. So you get fines that you don't pay. So I don't know how much you owe, several $100s. Let's talk about this most recent ticket, and I gotta hunt it down because that ticket alleges that on or about February 28th, Brody was at large again at about 6 o'clock at night. And they took the dog back to your house. And again, they charged you under the white pigeon ordinance. The fine assessed by the magistrate was $75. The other state costs, which was $240. I can amend that. You've got all these other cases which we haven't worked out yet. So let me ask you this, how do you plead to the misdemeanor offense that your dog was loose again on February 28th?
I wasn't home and I had a babysitter. We didn't even know that he was gone. They hooked him up in my backyard. And then several days later, I was leaving my house with Brody, and then an officer was in my driveway and handed me the ticket for that date. And I had a dog sitter that night, so I didn't even know that he was gone until I was handed the ticket several days later.
All right, Erin Gishwait is here. You've taken up a lot of her time. She spent an hour driving down here yesterday, an hour waiting around, an hour driving back, and now she's been here for another hour. So you've taken 4 hours of her time. Ms. Gishwait, what's your opinion here on her response to that February 28th ticket?
Oh, thank you, Your Honor. That's kind of a bit of a different story than what I received from Chief Burgoyne in the matter. I wasn't there, but I did speak with the chief about this case in particular. And at this point, the offer is still plead to the charge. I don't believe that there is a dismissal warranted in this case.
All right. So do you wish to acknowledge that your dog was loose on February 28th?
I will acknowledge that my dog was loose on the 28th, but however, Chief Burgoyne did not issue me the ticket. It was a different officer.
Yeah, there was a problem with the system the day they issued this ticket, and they couldn't get a ticket that day.
Yeah, that's what he said, something about it not being able to print.
But they're obviously concerned about the safety of the people in White Pigeon. One option, they haven't asked for this, is to have this dog put down. It hasn't bit anybody as far as I know. A couple problems. Pit bulls are smart and they're powerful and they're sight driven and they're stubborn. They can make great pets, but they can also do great damage. And every single person that had a pit bull that bit somebody tells me this dog was a sweetheart and you're not doing a very good job of controlling this dog.
My uncle's no longer in the home either, so that would no longer be an issue. I'm moving across the road, so I'm no longer going to be in that home. So there's no other issue as far as letting him out. He is kenneled, and I don't think there would be any other issues.
In the new home, is there a fenced in yard?
No, but he will be tethered to the house with a runner chain.
Wonderful.
I say this with confidence that he won't get out again, Your Honor.
All right, I'll accept your plea on that most recent dog at large case. So now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cases that I have to do sentencing on, which I blocked out an hour yesterday to do it, but you didn't show
I'm
up.
sorry, Your Honor.
So I've got pre-exam conferences, pre-trials, misdemeanor arraignments, and here we are. And, all right. I talked to your PO, Tracy. She wasn't very happy with the fact that you didn't show up when you were supposed to. She's gonna be seeing you when you're done here. She wants you to go over and see her.
Yes, Your Honor.
What are you doing? Employment wise or
I
otherwise?
was waiting for my job to come through with Walmart. I had a job at Walmart and my background check came back and they denied my employment. So I'm very disappointed with that. So I applied at fast food restaurants because I'm still on active felony probation until next month. And I think that's what's holding me up because I had an interview. I thought for sure I had the job at Walmart. They gave me the conditional requirements and everything. I was waiting for my background check to come in. They were aware of my background and they denied it. So I've been having a hard time finding employment.
Luke and Aaron, I'm just struggling on what to do here. She had probably a dozen of these dog at larges. I set it out for sentencing a number of months away to see whether we had more problems. We had more problems. She has a number of other unpaid tickets, which she's ignored. So she doesn't pay her fines. She doesn't show up when she's supposed to. The dog continues to be at large. There's some vague representation that the dog is licensed and vaccinated, but I don't have any proof of either of those. And I don't know what to do with her.
I do have Instacart as my form of employment as far as my money is on, as far as I get money, but that isn't like a full-time job, so. Which is the personal delivery of groceries.
I understand. She has this dog who's smart and powerful, and she's not the greatest at taking care of it. Luke, I'll hear, well, let me, Aaron, what does the village want me to do? I know that Chief Burgoyne and the White Pigeon officers are really frustrated and tired of this.
Yes, yes, they are. As of yet, I haven't spoken with them and I don't know that there's a desire to put the dog down. That's not what the village wants. I would leave sentencing court.
All right, that's why I get the big bucks. Luke, what's your thought here?
Well, I think she does take care of the dog well. I think the dog gets loose. I do think that she went off, got the dog vaccinated and licensed. I know we don't have verification right in front of us, but she took action. And then she has a plan here where she's in the midst of moving. It's right across the street, but she has a plan to let the dog run. And a dog should run, right? A dog should, but it needs to be restrained. So having this runner and tether, I think is a good plan. I know the court is considering jail time. And I would ask the court to consider, I know that there are fines and costs hanging out there. Quite frankly, Miss Byers' life just seems to be a little bit in chaos, Judge. I think it's going to get a little easier here. She finds a job, gets discharged from felony probation, which as far as I can tell, she doesn't have demerits in that probation. So I would ask the court to consider that. And I think she has a plan here moving forward, which is good.
Who else lives in your house?
My uncle did live in my home, but right now my mom lives there, my uncle, and that's it. My older uncle, he went to a facility, nursing home facility, and he's no longer there. And my mother and I, and then her brother, and I don't know what his plan is.
Are you all moving together?
No,
Just you?
just me and my dog. because this house had to be sold. It's been very chaotic. I've been the sole caregiver to my grandmother and my uncle in that home. So that's another thing that's been a big deal as far as getting a job, because I've been their sole caregiver of both of those individuals, and they both went to a facility. So it's been highly stressful for me. And
So
being there,
where's your mom gonna go?
I don't know where she's gonna go. I'm sorry to sound rude, if it sounds rude, but she's told me she's just worried about myself. And
Who's your new landlord?
I don't know. Well, her name's Pam Shingledecker. I'm gonna be living with her as a roommate. And then we agreed upon me paying $100 a week with her as my rent.
You're right, Luke, her life's in chaos. Yeah, often that reflects methamphetamine, but she's testing, she's on probation. And so that's not an issue. I'm not sure why her life's so chaotic.
It's just the move between my family and me being the sole caregiver of them. It's been very highly stressful as far as emotionally, because I love both of them dearly. However, they didn't have anybody else. So I made the right decision to put them in a facility rather than take care of them full time, because I have to take care of
And I'm
myself.
not critical of that. I commend you for that, but you got this dog that you can't take care of. You don't show up for court when you're supposed to. Rather than issue a bench warrant, I asked you to come today. You show up 40 minutes late.
And I apologize.
Then you've got a bunch of other tickets that you got, driving without any insurance, driving without any registration that you haven't paid. And about 6 or 8 of these charges were dismissed. So putting you in jail might make me feel better in light of all my frustrations, but it isn't gonna make the people of White Pigeon any safer.
Yeah, I would have to find something to do with my dog and my current move. I have to be out of my house. Your Honor.
Well, I think White Pigeon PD wish you would move to a new town or a new state. And this dog could be out in the country and do the things it wants to do. So once a number of years ago, one of the assistant prosecutors had like 17 dog complaints, and he wanted a conviction in all 17 complaints. So the guy owed like $1,200 in state fees, and he paid them all. I'm not confident. Plus, that isn't even assessing any fine.
Now that I know I have the responsibility to make family, I'm very confident to have a job and be able to pay the fines.
Well, even if I make the fine $1, every one of these is $125. Make up $5, dog at large. Not to mention your attorney fee. In the first case, 232005, the fine is $130 payment plan. This is why I set aside a bunch of time. Why didn't you show up yesterday?
I spaced it, honestly, Your Honor. I was grouping it all in together as today is and I'm sick, so I wasn't thinking properly. I thought I had to see my probation officer. I was grouping it all together in one. And I apologize for that.
$5. State minimum fees, $135, part of payment plan. What I'm concerned about is you're worried about your own difficulties, but you don't have any respect for me or the system. And it's all just an inconvenient nuisance that your dog can't run around. And so you're not really getting the fact that the city is very unhappy about this. And it's like, oh, I don't know what to do. I'll show up when I can. It's like, this is much less important to you than it is to everybody else. You
And
know,
that's not true, Your Honor. I'm sorry. I apologize.
All right, well, you say that, but your actions have not reflected it. I don't know what Judge Sutzman's got in mind for your felony probation. They probably just want to get you off their caseload. I get the sense that they feel the same way about that.
Well, my probation is Indiana probation.
Oh, it's supervised here?
Yeah,
Okay. Are you testing?
yes. Every month.
Monthly testing's not very effective, particularly when they tell you what day it's gonna be. But
And
that's
I'm get off next month
a joke.
on the 14th.
Miss Gishwait, we've got one unlicensed dog in here. Are you willing to dismiss that one to at least save her another $130 in light of the fact the dog is licensed? That would be 2321920M.
Yeah, I can do that.
All right. Mr. Marvin will be with you in just a minute. Miss Byers. Here like a boulder in a stream. All right, the unlicensed dog charge is dismissed. That's something. And then we're in the fourth one. 2322160M. Same thing, $5 and $130 minimum fee, part of a payment plan. Then on the most recent one, the February one, a dog at large, 24429OM. I'm going to order 0 fine, $75 crime victims' rights fee, $50 state minimum fee, and $150 attorney fee, which is $275. I'm going to do a payment plan. I'm going to sentence you to 1 year probation, non-reporting, no fee. The only condition is your dog shall not be at large. If the dog is at large, there is a very high likelihood you're going to go to jail, and your dog may go to doggy jail. If this dog is at large again in the village of White Pigeon, there is a very high likelihood you're going to do a jail sentence, and it will be a violation of this probation. No dog at large. You're also to pay your unpaid traffic tickets. Like I said, your life's just a wreck. 2270028, no proof of insurance from 2002, which is actually no insurance. And then you got some recently, no proof of insurance, 24620021082. No proof of insurance and no registration. This is from January. You got some tickets that just blew them off, so they went defaulted. I don't even know how much you owe, probably over $1,000. And I'm not hopeful of you paying you this off. So I'm going to send you out to the counter to set up the payment plan. Then I want you to go downstairs to the probation department and get set up on this non-reporting probation. The only condition is the dog not be at large. I was very disappointed by the February one. And it's like, well, that wasn't my fault. I wasn't there. It's your dog. You're responsible for it. If you had a hand grenade at your house and I felt it was unsafe and dangerous, and your uncle took it out and threw it over the fence and blew up the neighbor, I told you shouldn't have had that hand grenade in the first place. That's what this dog is. All right, the clerks are gonna have a hard time even sorting this all out. But I don't have time to fix it all right now. So you're gonna go out there, then you're gonna go downstairs to the probation department.
Okay.
Do you have any questions?
No, Your Honor.
All right, I don't want to deal with this anymore. And if I do, I'm not gonna lose any sleep over it or try to assess a fine that I'll never collect. I'm gonna put you in jail and you can be a trustee and mow grass or something all summer. Then you need to go over and see Tracy, your PO.
Okay.
All right, you're free to go.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Ms. Gishwin, thank you for your patience.
All right, Vincent Munoz, court is calling 2024 CR 1361, State of Texas versus Vincent Munoz. Could I have parties announced for the record for the state?
Marjorie Hillman, the state.
Defense?
Matthew Brown for the defense.
And are you Mr. Munoz?
Yes, ma'am.
Counsel, have you received all the discovery? Did you review it with your client?
Yes, Your Honor.
Court will find that the state is in compliance with discovery. Mr. Munoz, did you review the document entitled Application for Deferred Adjudication or Community Supervision
Yes,
with
Your
your
Honor.
attorney?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you understand it and sign it?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you review the document entitled True Bill of Indictment with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes, ma'am.
Counsel, do you waive the reading of the indictment?
Yes, Your Honor.
State, are you proceeding on the indictment as presented?
Yes, Judge.
Mr. Munoz, did you review the document entitled Court Admonishments with your attorney? Did you understand it and did you sign it?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand you're charged with the offense of endangering a child? That's a state jail felony. Range of punishment is anywhere from 180 days up to 2 years in the state jail facility and up to $10,000 fine. Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
If you have a plea bargain agreement with the state, the court does not have to follow your plea. If for any reason the court doesn't follow your plea and gives you more than you bargained for, the fact that you entered a plea will not be used against you and you will be allowed to withdraw your plea. Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand you have a right to jury trial, a right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state would call in the right to remain silent?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you understand by entering this plea, you were giving up those rights?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you intend to give up those rights and enter into a plea in this case? Did you
Yes.
intend to give up? Yes. Did you understand if the court were to grant your application for deferred adjudication, if for any reason your deferred adjudication were revoked, court could find you guilty, sentence you up to 2 years in the state jail facility and up to $10,000 fine?
Yes, Your Honor.
Counsel, has your client been able to provide you with any defenses?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you believe he has a rational as well as a factual understanding of the charges against him?
Yes, I do.
Do you believe he's currently competent and was legally sane at the time of the offense?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Munoz, has anyone threatened you, coerced you, or placed you in fear to get you to enter this plea?
No, ma'am.
Anyone promised you anything other than the plea?
No, ma'am.
Are you satisfied with the way you've been represented?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you a U.S. citizen?
Yes.
Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived his right to jury trial. Did you review the plea bargain page with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes, ma'am.
According to the plea, state is recommending deferred adjudication. They're taking in consideration 2024 CR 2176, and there's to be parenting classes. Did you understand that to be the plea?
Yes, ma'am.
Defense, is that the plea?
Yes, Your Honor.
State, is that the plea?
Yes, Judge.
Did you review the waiver of appeal paragraph with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you sign it in both places?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand by signing that you're waiving your right to appeal? The only items that can be appealed are written pretrial motions that have been filed, heard, and ruled upon by the court. Did you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Counsel, have there been any such motions?
No, Your Honor.
Outside the agreement, the state is requesting that your community supervision be for a term of 4 years. Did you understand that was a recommendation from the state and the court does not have to follow that recommendation?
Yes, ma'am.
Then to the offenses charged, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
No contest.
State any evidence.
Your Honor, state offers state's exhibit number 1 and all attachments.
No objection.
Oh, you may continue to confer. Thank you. Showing you what's entitled waiver and consent to stipulation of testimony and stipulations. Did you review that with your attorney? Did you understand it? Did you sign it in all the appropriate places?
Yes, ma'am.
Again, did you understand you have a right to jury trial, a right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state would call in the right to remain silent?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you understand that today the state will be presenting evidence in the form of witnesses' statements and police reports, but most importantly, there'll be no live testimony? Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived and consented to stipulation of testimony and stipulations. Court will accept into evidence states exhibits 1 and attachments and review the same. All right, after reviewing states exhibits 1 and attachments, court will find there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty. The court will defer finding of guilt as you apply for deferred adjudication. Are you proceeding with sentencing?
Yes, Your Honor.
Anything you wish to say on behalf of your client?
Just ask the court to follow the agreement.
All right, are you employed?
Yes,
What do you do?
I'm a painter.
How many children do you have?
1 and 1 on the way.
All right. And is Child Protective Services involved?
No, ma'am.
All right, why do you have a 5-year-old sitting in the front seat?
It was just my irresponsibility. So we were going home and she was like, can I sit in the front? I said, yes, that was my irresponsibility on doing that. I shouldn't have listened to her. That was on my fault.
On every vehicle, there's a notice on the visor. Have you ever read those notices on the visor?
Yes, ma'am.
What does it say?
It says to keep your child in the back seat in case of the airbag,
Yeah. And do you know why?
cause death.
Yeah, the airbag can kill a child if they're in the front seat and there's an accident. You understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Now let's address to the issue of you speeding with a 5-year-old in the front seat of your vehicle. Why are you doing that?
I was just honestly just trying to get her to meet her mom and go home. It was just my mistake I just didn't
No,
stop.
these were choices. And it says that you had warrants. So were you speeding because you had warrants?
No, ma'am.
And why were you zigging and zagging?
When he was behind me, the lights weren't on at first. I thought it was a regular car just behind me. So I was just trying to get out of the way. And when I found an opening, I did kind of speed and he finally lit me up and, you know,
All right, and if you're drug tested today, what are the results going to be?
positive
For what?
weed.
And what else?
That's it.
All right. This is what the court is going to do. Court is going to sentence you to 4 years deferred adjudication, taking consideration 2024 CR 2176, 100 hours of community service restitution. The court is going to require parenting classes. Once you complete parenting classes, your community service hours will be deemed satisfied. Regular reporting by Zoom or in person. Proof of employment within 30 days. There's to be no employment as a home healthcare providers or with minors. There's to be no unsupervised contact with minors until completion of parenting classes. There's to be field visits 1 time per month for 3 months. There's to be regular random UAs. Tests for levels. There's to be the driver safety course. Sober support meetings. 60 and 60 days. Probation, is there anything else? Is there anything else you need from the court to be successful?
No.
All right, did you review the document entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Rights to Appeal with your attorney? Did you understand it and did you sign it?
Yes, ma'am.
Because this is a plea bargain agreement, because I followed your plea bargain agreement, and because you waived your right to appeal, you do not have the court's permission to appeal. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, we can go off the record. Here's the thing. You got to put children first. They can't take care of themselves. Children don't know the rules. When she asked to be placed in the front seat, if that's what she did, you should have told her no. And you should have calmly explained to her, the answer is no, because if this airbag deploys, you could be killed. You understand?
Yes, ma'am. I will.
All right, good luck to you.
Thank you. You as well. You have a good day.
All right, thank you, you too. All right, the court is calling 2022 CR 11882, State of Texas versus Raf Perez. Can I have parties approach and announce for the record for the state?
Second for the state.
Defense?
Yes, on behalf of Mr. Pettis.
And are you Mr. Pettis? Come forward, please. And counsel, you on this side. Okay. Counsel, have you received all the discovery? Did you review it with your client?
Yes.
Court will find that the state is in compliance with discovery. Mr. Pettis, did you review the document entitled Application for Deferred Adjudication or Community Supervision with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes, ma'am.
Counsel, I'm sorry. And next, I'm going to show you what's entitled True Bill of Indictment. Did you review that with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes, ma'am.
Counsel, do you waive the reading of the indictment?
Yes, Judge, you did.
State, are you proceeding on the indictment as presented
Yes, Your Honor.
on all counts?
No, Your Honor, just count, give me about 5 seconds, Your Honor. Just count 2, Your Honor. The state will waive and abandon the others. And there's no objection, Judge.
Okay. So count 1 and count 3 are waived without objection. Mr. Pettis, did you review the document entitled Court Admonishments and Defendants Waivers and Affidavit of Admonitions with your attorney? Did you understand it? Did you sign it in all the appropriate places?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand in count 2, you're charged with indecency with a child by contact? That is a second-degree felony. Range of punishment is anywhere from 2 to 20 years in prison and up to $10,000 fine.
Yes, ma'am.
If you have a plea with the state, the court does not have to follow your plea. If for any reason the court does not follow your plea and gives you more than you bargained for, the fact that you entered a plea will not be used against you and you will be allowed to withdraw your plea. Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand you have a right to jury trial, a right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state would call in, the right to remain silent?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand by entering this plea, you were giving up those rights?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you intend to give up those rights and enter into a plea in this case?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand that the court were to grant your application for deferred adjudication? If for any reason your deferred adjudication were revoked, the court could sentence you up to 20 years in prison and find you guilty. Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Counsel, has your client been able to provide you with any defenses?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you believe he has a rational as well as a factual understanding of the charges against him?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you believe he's currently competent and was legally sane at the time of the offense?
Yes, Your Honor, I do.
Mr. Pettis, has anyone threatened you, coerced you, or placed you in fear to get you to enter the plea?
No, ma'am.
Anyone promised you anything other than the plea?
No, ma'am.
Are you satisfied with the way you've been represented?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you a U.S. citizen?
Yes, ma'am.
Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived his right to jury trial. According to the plea bargain agreement, state recommends deferred adjudication. There's to be Chapter 62 compliance and no contact with the complainant. Did you understand that to be the plea?
Yes,
Defense is at the plea?
It is, Judge.
State is at the plea?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you review the waiver of appeal paragraph with your attorney? Did you understand it? Did you sign it in both places?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand by signing that you're waiving your right to appeal? The only items that can be appealed are written pretrial motions that have been filed, heard, and ruled upon by the court. Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Counsel, have there been any such motions?
There have been none.
Outside the agreement, the state is requesting that your community supervision be for a term of 10 years. Did you understand that was a recommendation from the state and the court does not have to follow that recommendation? Then to the offense as charged in count 2, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
No contest.
State,
Yes, Your Honor.
any evidence?
Yes, Your Honor. State offer states wanting attachments.
No objection, Judge.
All right, did you review the document entitled waiver and consent to stipulation of testimony and stipulations with your attorney? Did you understand it? Did you sign it in all the appropriate places?
Yes, ma'am.
Again, did you understand you have a right to jury trial, a right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state will call in the right to remain silent?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand that today the state will be presenting evidence in the form of witnesses' statements and police reports, but most importantly, there'll be no live testimony? Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived and consented to stipulation of testimony and stipulations. Court will accept into evidence states exhibits 1 and attachments. The court has reviewed the same. The court will find there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty. The court will defer finding of guilt as you applied for deferred adjudication. Are you proceeding with sentencing?
Judge, we're asking for a PSI.
All right. Ms. Ferguson, I need a PSI date. All right, we'll be back on June 4th. And at that time, I'll make my decision on whether or not I'll follow the plea bargain agreement based upon the PSI report and any other evidence that's presented to me.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, once you sign the reset form, you are excused.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome. All right, who's Gilbert Ponce?
Judge, can we reapproach on that?
Yes. And Deputy Lawrence, can you let them know to come back up at 1:30? Yes.
Judge, I just wanted to make the court aware that after reviewing Mr. Ponce's file and speaking with the officer, it appears that her report was incorrect.
Okay.
Mr. Ponce has completed all of the mandated classes to include the FPP and to include the parenting course. He has no courses left. He did pay off all of his fines and fees last week, and his account is clear.
All right, see, what did I say about communication? Isn't that key?
Judge, the CSO asked that I apologize to the court for the mistake on her behalf. Also,
No, she should apologize to Mr. Ponce.
she's called me.
And she did call me right now, but
Oh, awesome.
Um,
Tell her no problem. Stuff happens.
Yes, Judge. So the only thing that was kind of in limbo was he tested positive last month. And we redid a tap on him, and the tap recommendation was for him to complete the drug offender education program.
Mhm.
Now, that program is the program in which he indicates is not available to him until September.
All right, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna extend you. I'm gonna extend him to May 13th. So between now and May 13th, you're gonna do a sober support meeting daily, starting on the 10th. And we're gonna do random UAs. If he's positive. Yes,
We know that he's going to come up positive now, other than what's on his prescription is what you're saying, correct?
yes. All right, so other than what's on your prescription, if he is positive, then what's gonna end up happening is you're gonna get extended past that date. So between now and May 13th. And we will start tomorrow. You're gonna do a sober support meeting a day. You understand?
What's that on?
Oh, it's an NA meeting. They call them sober support meetings now.
Oh, okay. I was like, what's?
So you're gonna do that daily. And we're gonna do random UAs.
So do I still have to do the classes? It doesn't start till September.
No, you done your classes. That's what they're telling me.
Not the one that, not yet, if something else comes up on your way, it will be something different.
Okay.
All right, so we'll do sober support meetings daily, beginning April 10th through May 13th. And random UAs. Let's do at least once every 2 weeks. All right, so if all is clear on that, you'll be done. If all is not clear on that, we're gonna have an issue, okay? All right, is there anything else?
No.
All right, thank you for,
I was like, why are you saying I don't have nothing done? I just figured everything.
well, see, that's what I'm saying.
Thank you.
Communication is key.
Thank you, man.
All right, thank you.